US versus China in new solar capacity. Hey, well, on the plus side, we've almost caught up to the economic titans in India, you know? First half of 2025, how much solar's been installed? Well, we're almost caught up to India. They got more people than us. Like, asking why American oligarchs are so okay with the decline of America is like asking why Russian oligarchs are the same. You know that Russia is, like, awful, right? They used to be a superpower. Now, many of the same people who control their economy today were, to some extent, in power or are derived from power that was held during the Soviet Union. They don't give a fuck. It's Marxism, boyo. It's class consciousness. It's material conditions. It doesn't matter how good or evil these people are or think they are. It is a system that produces evil men. Or women sometimes, though not as often, because of like sexism or whatever. Hashtag feminism. Why don't the fossil fuel pedophiles become solar pedophiles if solar is cheaper? Inertia, mostly. It's not a rational thing, you know? Feel like why does the aristocracy not concede power to the civil government if it would ensure their own survival? Because they're like arrogant and busy, raping people, I guess. It's it. Like past a point, you have to get back to like the base principle, the fundamental, which is like these people are stupid and arrogant. They're not smart. Red tide rising. Man, look at that U.S. shipbuilding. That's crazy. See these big like turquoise spikes right here? World shipbuilding in percent of total in gross tonnage, United States. Look at our wartime production, boyo. Look at what we were able to do. Look at World War II U.S. world shipbuilding production. We used to be a real country. Try to find that aquamarine sliver over here in the right. It's crazy. It's all South Korea, China, and Japan now. When the Jones Act hits, by 1945, 40% of the US GDP was dedicated to the war effort. Yep, and somehow we now have the same amount of national debt now as we did back then. Isn't that crazy? The country is as in debt relative to its GDP as it was back then, which is much, much more debt. The difference is, of course, that after World War II, we were able to pay that debt off. Now we won't. The United States will never again pay off its national debt, not without some kind of fundamental restructuring, declaration of bankruptcy. It will never pay off this debt. There is no politician, no one, not even Mamdani or Bernie Sanders or AOC, no one, who would be able to tax the wealth necessary to bring down that debt. I need to read more up on it, Mechmite. What would even happen if the whole country declared bankruptcy? What would happen, like, in general or to you? To you, I hope you've stockpiled on ammunition. There has to be a more clear way to show those stats. I think this is a perfectly fine way. Whatever. Colors could use some work. Yeah, the color differences could be a little more clear, I think. Did you see the Trump admin paid BlackRock to shut down their renewables and build fossil fuels? Yeah, I did see this. It really is impossible to overstate just how much they hate you and also how much they are stupid. Like, any one of these fossil fuel companies could have just bought up the nascent renewable energy industry and just run with it and run like a mega monopoly. And they decided not to because they're just stupid and they hate life. Life itself. But why? Because they're evil. Liberalism has rotted your minds, you know? The idea that everyone who plays the political game is doing so to, procure some kind of rational self-interest, this is a disease of your mind. Sometimes people are just fucking evil and want to kill you. Isn't nuclear energy the best source? The problem that I have with nuclear energy, in addition to the fact that it takes ages to build those plants, is that sometimes people online will engage in this weird reflective contrarianism where they advocate for it instead of solar. I don't get it. Yeah, build nuclear, build solar, I don't care. Solar is clearly the future, like massively so. It's like all available evidence right now points towards solar being the future. Like, build nuclear too. I just don't understand why. Like, you mentioned solar and then sometimes people will be like, no, not solar, nuclear. Just do both. I don't care. Like, I don't know why you're arguing with me. Look at the dollar dog. The US dollar has lost 30% of its purchasing power over the last 6 years. Neat. Yeah, it sounds about right. I can tell when I buy stuff from foreign companies. Global oil inventories depleting at a record pace. Yep. Yep. Global oil supply to drop by 3.9 million barrels per day throughout 2026 as a result of a disruption. Yeah. We're very close to running out. Very close to running out. Not so much these countries, mind. The auto industry is a great example of American decline. Now, those are some colors. The dark blue is the United States, of course. Remember, it was all for shareholder profits. Bit of a dip. Yeah, a bit of a dip. Good t-shirt design. This would look really good on a t-shirt. You're not wrong. Yeah. These colors, this graph, no letters or numbers, of course. I just don't understand why these corpos would rather lock in on oil for 10 years and be rich on an unlivable planet rather than switch gears and be rich for 50 years insanity. Well, most of them aren't going to live for 50 years. Also, a lot of them believe that the end times are inevitable. Generally speaking, these megalomaniacs don't really believe in society. They don't believe in social change. They think that the world is a terrible place and God put them where they are because they were meant to rise above all others. Just look at the behavior of monarchs in previous eras, you know? You can't expect rational, self-serving behavior from egomaniacs surrounded by yes-men. They're literally not like us. Their brains work differently. At birth, they might have been the same as us, at least like in a template level, but their minds have been reinforced day in and day out by a borderline apocalyptic vision of the world. It just doesn't work the way that it doesn't work the way that arts do, you know? They're insane. Also, a lot of social inertia behind sticking to your guns, you know? Literally look at the ruling class. Look at like every ruling class ever, basically. Do they not want to even have expensive nature trips, man? Do you think Elon Musk gives a single shit about the beauty of the natural world? Seriously, do you really truly believe that? The only natural world they're interested in is the parts you can't access. These people don't go to natural parks. They're for poor people. National parks. They're only interested in beauty you can't afford, like the beauty of Little St. James. This one's pretty cool. Nearly 50,000 people in the Lake Tahoe area have been told that their utility will stop providing power to them because it's redirecting that power to data centers. Sorry. Oops. Sucks to suck. NV Energy, the Nevada utility that supplied most of Lake Tahoe's electricity for decades, says that next year it'll stop servicing homes in that area and instead direct that electricity to the growing demand from Nevada data centers. Northern Nevada is one of the fastest growing data center corridors in the country. Cool. There's a data center in Utah being built that's twice the size of Manhattan and uses more power than the entire state of Utah. Well, we'll see if it actually gets built because a lot of this is speculative bullshit. But yes, we did talk about this. Yeah. Lake Tahoe doesn't know where its power will come from after the next ski season, and it's a major problem for the 49,000 residents who call the region home. Well, presumably it would be redirected from elsewhere in the grid, but it's insane that local utilities are just pulling services to direct things entirely elsewhere, you know? Liberty's 49,000 California customers may be bearing the cost. Liberty Utilities generates about 25% of its power from solar facilities it owns in Nevada. The other 75 comes from Nevada Energy, and that source will no longer be supplied to the region by this time next year. I see. So Nevada Energy is cutting its power to Liberty Utilities, and they're going to have to get the power from elsewhere. So Nevada's directing its energy like entirely towards the data center, leaving the Californian residents near Lake Tahoe to fend for themselves. That man, that who said earlier this is speeding up the balkanization of the United States, man. Having like your power cut across different state lines because local utilities are direct, like your governor is directing you to direct all of your power to a local data center construction. That's insane. Jesus Christ. What makes the Tahoe crisis so difficult is that no single regulator oversees the whole chain from power generation to customer bills. Liberty is a California investor-owned utility, pays rates approved by the California Public Utilities Commission, but its grid sits inside Nevada Energy's balancing authority. Yeah, this is a balkanization problem right here. This is like California and Nevada deploying their local National Guard to the border to tightly control the distribution of like solar plant energy. It's more Fallout New Vegas. It's more Fallout New Vegas shit, okay? It's directing the energy from that one solar plant. You get it. You've done the bit. You can direct it to the farmers or to the weapon. You get it. You get it. Building a direct connection to California's grid would require a new transmission line west over the Sierra. A Project Liberty president, Eric Schwartzbach, said would cost hundreds of millions of dollars with significant land impacts. Sheesh. The CPUC approves Liberty's rates, but it cannot order Nevada Energy to keep selling wholesale power or dictate how Nevada plans for data centers. Fuck, man. So, like, eventually it won't even matter if new solar is getting built in Nevada or Utah or Texas or whatever, because those local grids are just going to direct all energy towards their fuck ass data projects, their data center projects, you know? Like we need energy infrastructure being built in blue states because the red states are just going to localize distribution so all the fucking Tahoeans or whatever can't boil their kettles. What does a data center even do? Generate bespoke child pornography so our elites can enjoy stuff. What's the millennialism? Let people enjoy things? I refuse. I'm a zillennial. I hate it when people enjoy things. Data centers used 22% of Nevada's electricity in 2024, and that share could rise to 35% in 2030. Where's that graph of energy production in the USA versus China? Maybe I'll Google those exact words and find it. Energy production USA versus China graph. It's quite telling. Yes, there we go. Love to live in a dying empire. You've seen this one, right? China invests in energy infrastructure because its leaders aren't retarded. We don't because we are. Or ours are. Hey, that seems bad. Yeah, it's a little bad, in my opinion. A lot of that is green energy too. Yeah, green energy has been growing in the United States quickly, but nowhere near as quickly as China. Also, we've been replacing like closing coal plants with green energy. So we're building green energy, but not enough to outpace, well, only enough to barely outpace the rate at which we're closing, old fossil fuel energy production centers, largely because of our goal of replacing our coal energy. Yeah, but like, if we wanted to, right now, America could have triple the energy production just off renewables. It's crazy to imagine a world where good things happen instead of bad things happening, but like, if Al Gore had won instead of Bush and we had gone down that path, we would have like quadruple the energy production in the United States. Yeah, he did win. I know. And it would all be renewables. Rates were already climbing. Liberty originally sought a 19.1% revenue increase. Sure. The CPUC approved a smaller increase, 11.4%. The rate spotlighted wildfire costs, insurance premiums, infrastructure spending in a high-risk mountain region. Isn't the growth mainly because of a rising population and production industry? In China, it's just because they're taking it seriously. They care about nation building. In America, the reason is because it's not economically feasible to justify the construction of new coal and natural gas plants, but it's also the only thing the oligarchs want. There aren't really any like massive renewable energy oligarchs yet. Don't worry, we'll get there. So we don't have any pedophiles in Washington whispering in the ear of our presidents telling them to make it a national priority to build more of these. The only reason we don't have even more natural gas and coal plants in the United States is because it's just not economically viable to produce them. So in this case, the development of renewable energy needs not just economic viability, which it has, but also a cheerleader pedophile in the White House encouraging our leaders to go for it. It sounds like I'm joking, but it's not. The reason we've gone all in on fossil fuels has nothing to do with economic viability and everything to do with the fact that, fossil fuel lobby interests are extremely concentrated in DC. It's really just corporate power. We don't really have that kind of renewable corporate power yet. We could,